Welcome to Seeing Art History. A Walk at Dusk by the German artist Caspar David Friedrich depicts a moment of spiritual introspection. And for us, as viewers of Friedrich's art, this can be a visual encounter in which our own sacred imagination is expanded. This relatively late work, painted between 1830 and 1835, evidences how, across his entire career, Friedrich developed a creative method in which the contemplation of nature could lead to a faith in God. As you look closely at this work, please like this video. On an autumn evening, a wayfarer has paused before a dolmen. This monumental rock could mark a prehistoric grave or ritual site. In the region where Friedrich grew up, dolmens could be found throughout the landscape, and these spiritually evocative monuments became a recurring motif in his art. Alone in his thoughts, this unidentified man gains a consciousness of his own self. As he silently reflects on what this moment of encounter might signify, this traveler has a richer awareness of his own relationship to his environment. By environment, I mean not only the natural world, but the entire universe, both visible and invisible. Or perhaps this ancient megalith has suggested a more expansive conception of the passage of time. And the crescent moon in the sky above is a symbol of Christ. The reverential mood of this moment would have inspired Friedrich with thoughts of God and perhaps even a prayer. A Walk at Dusk evidences a sense of artistic purpose in which the work of art reorients us from the observation of the visible to a discovery of the invisible. Friedrich was a devout Protestant, and he believed that the divine creator was revealed through nature. He called this ability to perceive the invisible God within the universe of appearances a sacred intuition. Friedrich wrote that this sacred intuition could only be recognized if the viewer was a believer, and his art encourages this belief. A Walk at Dusk visualizes Friedrich's own sacred intuition. The very process of making art cultivated this sacred intuition. And Friedrich's paintings, both in the motifs that they depict and in the visual methods that they employ, inspire the viewer's sacred intuition. Describing how this spiritual purpose guided his own art-making process, Friedrich said,
"The artist's task is not the faithful representation of air, water, rocks, and trees, but rather his soul. His sensations should be reflected in them. The task of a work of art is to recognize the spirit of nature, and with one's whole heart and intention, to saturate oneself with it, and absorb it, and give it back again in the form of a picture."
We can trace Friedrich's application of this spirit-oriented creative method in his development of A Walk at Dusk. This painting's central motif of the dolmen is based on a sketch that Friedrich made in 1802. 3 decades later, Friedrich incorporated that sketch into his painting. This transformation of a motif from a sketch made in nature into a painting done in the studio was characteristic of Friedrich's creative process. In both its motif and method, A Walk at Dusk evidences a shift from the observation of appearance to the perception of spiritual presence, from seeing with the eye to experiencing with the soul. The traveler's meditative demeanor models this reorientation of vision. Furthermore, Friedrich's creative process of translating nature into art reveals, for those who have the faith to recognize it, the immaterial presence of God. And seeing the world through Friedrich's sacred intuition expands our own capacity for this belief.